It's your boy Zappa, professional stage ninja, and it is, 1 a.m. now? It's going on 2 a.m. and I just finished Darling in the FranXX, final episode. Been watching it every week since it came out, and as I'm sure most of you already know, I am a huge fan of giant robots. Mecha Damashi all the way. And it's going to be just kind of stream of consciousness. I thought about a few things to say, before I watched the episode. But I guess just the main point is I want to express that I feel this show was bloody f***ing fantastic. From episode 1 to episode 24, I, in my personal opinion, enjoyed the whole damn thing. It covers a whole bunch of emotional and responsible topics that I'm not even going to articulate my words well. I'm still a little choked up over the parts of the episode, but it covers a lot of stuff that I feel like is more reserved for, slice of life or romantic anime or, it's not a thing. What it contains is not something that you don't often see in especially a super robot show or a giant robot show at all. Knowing by the general design and, look at even just the key art, the poster, it's very clear that this is a show that is super robots. The giant robots that are powered by, and the rules are rules. Rules? Get out, there are no rules. But what it also does, you already know I kind of stammer a whole lot, really bad. So pardon my yammering and stammering. I'm genuinely trying to focus on what I'm trying to say. It's been my experience that a lot of giant robot shows are more about protagonist A uprooting, the way things are, fighting antagonist B, and you go from there, you get an upgrade, you fight the final battle, and everything comes out A-okay in the end, or in some shows it doesn't, which is neither here nor there. It's more about the action and getting from start to finish, whereas in my opinion, I have to express that point, especially in my opinion, I feel like real robot shows are less about the giant robot action and more about interpersonal interaction between protagonist, antagonist, and whatever factions exist therein. And that I want to acknowledge both of those sides because I feel that Darling in the FranXX took both of those worlds. They took the interpersonal actions of a real robot show and mingled that in with the high-octane action of a super robot show. And that's what I feel a lot of people are faulting this show for. It was building up to A, and it dropped the ball because it did B. Well, not even B. They expected to go from A to B, and they ended up over here at J, and maybe someone didn't understand how they got there, maybe someone just didn't like, that it went that direction, and that's not what they came here for. I came here for giant robot action, Studio Trigger, where's my Gurren login? And we're over here with what's all these interpersonal relationships? Why does person A and person B like you? Why is person C? Why is this a love triangle that doesn't work? Because that's people. That's people. You have to remember that This is also something I learned in Stardew Valley. It's, why is this person reacting this way? They're people. Sometimes people react irrationally to a thing. Just the other day, someone made a decision in their life that didn't even affect me or anything in my life whatsoever, and I felt offended by it, and like they personally betrayed me for doing so. It's like, it's none of my business, yet I feel this way because I'm a person. So I just feel like this show really handled a lot of things, a lot of giant robot things that, you know, the genre as a whole might be needing to see, and everything was great. I loved everything about it, from every character, from the giant robot action, from even the weird twist at the season jump that a lot of people dislike, to what I've seen a few people call half a season of filler, because where's the action? It's not always going to be about action. You may choose to look at the bigger picture, or you may choose to look at the smaller picture. And one of the things that I went in knowing about this show, and I don't pay any attention to credits hardly ever, is Studio Trigger. That is all I knew. I knew that name, and I knew a list of things that they've already done. They've already done Gurren Lagann. It's easily the most... I didn't want to say the word epic, but it's probably the most epic thing that they've done, and I try to mean this in the most literal term of epic. You went on a journey, a lesson was learned, and the main character died along the way. Not necessarily, but you know what I mean. Studio Trigger did Gurren Lagann, they did Little Witch Academia, they did Kill la Kill, and one thing that I noticed from all three of those shows, and I'm most certain they've done a lot more, but I'm the kind of person who is, I enjoy things at a surface level, so I don't do my research, and I want to experience what's there, what is presented to me, and then maybe later on I'll go do research. But between those three shows, my understanding is that Studio Trigger likes to go to space. It's just a thing where, to quote a Drake song, you started from the bottom, now we're here. You started from the bottom, now your whole crew has been lifted up. And that is... I didn't watch Little Witch Academia, but if you go back and look at Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann, literally your main character starts at the most basic of nothing. Simon starts underground, that is nothing, and that escalates to the surface, and then they take that up into space and well beyond. Kill la Kill, you start at, you're the new student in this school, and she's literally battling her way up the ranks of the school, and then that escalates to a global phenomenon, and even in the end, that finally escalates going straight to space. From what I've heard, Little Witch Academia even ends somewhere with their hijinks and adventures going off into space. Feel free to correct me. I have no intention of watching the show. I just don't watch it. It's not for me. See, and that's another point that I want to bring up, and I'll come back to this point here, but I went into Darling in the Franxx expecting two things: giant robots, and because of Studio Trigger, going to space. And what did we achieve? We achieved giant robots, and we most certainly went to space. And I think people might have wanted a lot more, you know, fighting up into space, or maybe they wanted their plot to be a little different. But I just feel like even the episodes where all they did was the kids interacted amongst themselves and wondering why. Why is X, why is Y, why is Z? Why can't X be A and why can't Y be 2? It's is just great to see, pardon me, something that was more than just giant robots in a giant robot show, and more than just interpersonal politics in a giant robot show. It took both sides of the genre and it put it together, and I feel it did a fantastic job of it. I understand I'm repeating myself, but again, this is straight conscious, this is straight up thought, there's no script, there's no planning, and we're stammering. So, the other part that I want to come across is, and this is probably far more important, because I begin to say, in my opinion, Darling in the Franxx was fucking fantastic. And I do wish to reserve my use of cursing because anybody could watch this video. We're not age restricted here. It's always going to be in your opinion. And as a secondary point, if you loved the heck out of Darling in the Franxx, great, wonderful, get at me, we'll talk about it. We'll wonder why we're not getting model kits and we're only getting super expensive figures that I'm never going to buy. I don't buy statuettes, I buy model kits. If you don't like it, that's fine. Maybe you I can have a dialogue about it. I can try to articulate why I loved it, and you can tell me why you didn't. And maybe you'll click to something that I had already clicked on. Maybe I'll click to something that you didn't like. It's important to have a civil dialogue about what we do and don't like, rather than saying, oh, this was bad, don't watch it because it's bad. Don't go out there, and if you didn't like this show, or if you didn't like anything, if you don't like Gundam, if you don't like Gurren Lagann, if you don't like Darling in the Franxx, that's fine. Don't tell people not to do a thing because you didn't like it. Sure, there are things out there that are generally panned. The universe mostly dislikes SIEG, but I've met people who enjoy SIEG. So, I encourage you, people, to go out there and form your own opinion and really just watch the show. Ignore what everybody else says, form your own opinion, and then go forth and have these dialogues with people. Because it's just always going to be important to have a dialogue with someone about what maybe it's because people aren't going to see the things the way you do, and you're not going to see the way things someone else does. And that's why, I am easily discouraged when I was like, hey, I like this thing because of reason number 3. And I express this, and I get the counterpoint, and like, well, your opinion is wrong because of counterpoint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and now I don't want to talk to you anymore. Because rather than expressing your opinion and saying, I don't like it because this, you're telling me what you like is bad because. And that's no good. We want to spread understanding and spread the love of giant robots. And if you don't like a certain show, that's fine. So, in conclusion, and I might even put a timestamp so you can just jump to this point because I honestly do ramble and I apologize. I feel Darling in the Franxx was amazing. As a person with Mechadamashi and someone who probably has the emotional capacity of an 8-year-old watching Power Rangers for the first time, there are probably the most simple of things that happen in at least every other episode that I either got incredibly excited for or I got choked up for. I do the same thing watching Build Divers. I either get excited or I get choked up. And if you are an adult and you can get emotional at a 24-minute animation for even just a couple of minutes, like that thing hit me in the feels, that makes you an incredible person because you are still a person and you haven't lost your ability to feel and love. Colony and the FranXX was fucking great. I implore you to check it out on your own time. Go wherever you need to go. Crunchyroll, Funimation, Verve, Netflix, wherever you can find it legitimately and cheapest to your availability. Do so. Support your official releases. Buy what you can, because a lot of times you vote with your dollar. If you love something, support it financially, so that businesses know that this thing made its dollar. Let's do it again. Thank y'all for listening to my ramble. ZEON.